what's good, guys? We're back for part 2 of this Monster Chappie. In case you missed part 1, be sure to check that out. We talk about the DMRs and a little bit about them, and this video we're going to kind of continue upon that. So the first part, man, I talked a little bit about the accuracy thing and how the DMRs can actually improve or help to improve, actually show you how good or bad or in between your accuracy actually is. Now, kind of want to break that down a little bit. It's probably some very obvious information, but let's go ahead and break it down anyway. With the DMRs, man, you got a single fire weapon. So if you're using a fully automatic weapon, there's going to be bullets that deviate from your aim. There's going to be bullets that deviate left. There's going to be some that go right. There's going to be some that go above, below, etc., etc. So there's bullets that are going to fire on target, and then there's going to be a bunch of bullets that kind of shoot around that target or, you know, in that area, general vicinity. So when you're firing a fully automatic weapon, it still only takes 3 to 5 bullets to kill someone. So, you know, for most of the guns anyway, if you hit them in the chest, you get a couple headshots, you're good to go there as well with the multiplier. But with that being said, how fast you can shoot as well as those deviated bullets are going to affect how quickly your opponent goes down. So when you're using an automatic weapon, they may not die from the bullet that's on target because your target or where you're aiming may not have actually been on target. But some of those bullets that deviated may have killed your opponent. But with that being said, the more accurate you are, the more likely it is that those deviated bullets and that those bullets that are actually on target are going to hit your opponent. So if your bullets are on target, obviously it's going to hit. But those deviated bullets are going to most likely hit as well if you're actually on target. Whereas if you're to the right, only the deviated bullets to the left are going to hit. But if you're on the money, the deviated bullets to the left and the deviated bullets from the right. And deviated just means the bullets that are a little bit off of perfect accuracy, kind of, for some of you guys that don't use that word. It's not a very big word. Mama tells me to use big words in these videos, but I know there's a lot of kids out there, and I just want to keep it simple. So, nonetheless, with that being said, if you're right on target, the bullets that go above, below, to the right, to the left, a lot of those are going to hit. And once a few of those hit, your opponent's going to go down. Whereas with the DMR, you have to be on the money for every shot. Every shot that's not on the money is not going to hit. So, because the DMR, the bullet is going to follow it, and it's going to be very accurate. So it's not going to just, you know, be on target. It's not going to be in the middle of your sight and just completely miss. You know, that's the beautiful thing about the DMRs. They are going to hit where you aim. So if your aim is good, you're going to be hitting the target a lot of the time. If your aim is off, if your aim is bad, if you're just missing a couple shots, because you. It's not because of the gun, it's because you missed the shot. Now, one thing you do want to get used to is the fact that there is still kickback on the DMRs. So when you're using the DMRs, don't think that there's no kickback, there's no recoil, and that if you keep firing rapidly, that your bullet is not going to be going upwards as any other gun would after you fire a few times. Because if you do keep firing really quickly, if your trigger finger's itching, if that is the case, what's going to end up happening is that your gun is going to start going upwards, and it's just going to recoil as any other gun would. And if you're not adjusting for that, if you're not accounting for that, if you think it's like Call of Duty where there's going to be absolutely no recoil as when you're using the FAL, not going to be the case, and you're going to be frustrated because you're going to be wondering why you're no longer hitting your target, even though your aim started on target. After about 5 shots, you know, it's just completely off the mark, especially at further distances. So you got to kind of keep that into account. So when you are firing, make sure you're either accounting for the recoil by using the right stick, or that you're, you know, putting a little bit of time between shots. That way, the bullet, your aim actually realigns to where it initially was. So you can do one of the two, kind of like burst firing with the automatic weapon. You can burst fire with a you know, semi-automatic weapon. Now, one thing I do want to point out about some of these DMRs is there is a little bit of time between shots that you're going to actually get. And it's not the case with all of them, which is why I love the M39 EMR, because that gun doesn't have a lot of delay time, but like kind of like the MK11, seem like there's just like a slight delay between bullets. So even though you may be clicking the trigger, you know, click, it's not going to fire at that rate. It's going to fire click, 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 click. It's going to fire at that rate. So that's just one thing you got to get used to. And each one has kind of a different delay. Some of them have less of a delay. Some of them have more. Some of them, the kickback from that delay is a lot. Some of them, you know, it kind of stays pretty much on target. So that's one of the reasons why my favorite DMR in the game is going to be that the M39 EMR, is because this gun has, it seems like, the least amount of delay, and it still stays pretty much on target once you put those attachments on it, and then it's good to go. It's my personal favorite. There are other solid ones out there, but again, it's just my personal preference, and if you haven't tried it out, I definitely recommend it. But with that being said, man, why would you want to use DMR? What is the best use for it? Is it something you're going to want to use in a competitive game? Is it something that you're going to use, you know, in the must-win matches and things like that versus, you know, your friends or whatever, or whoever it might be for money, or I don't know, whatever the case is? No, I would not say the DMR is going to be a weapon to use in those scenarios. But I think using the DMRs is going to be something that's going to help you use and be more effective with all the other weapons in the game. And that's one reason I would say go through them, use them, try them with different attachments, find some you're comfortable with, because it's really going to showcase and valualize and make more extreme how valuable each bullet is, how valuable it is to lead your targets, get your aim right on the money, and hit with every single bullet. Because if you're hitting with more bullets, the time to kill is going to be decreased dramatically. Your accuracy is going to increase dramatically, and how important your accuracy is just increases dramatically. We already talked about the bullet deviation, but not only that, if you're using the DMR, you're only going to be firing one bullet at a time. So it's going to take you quite a bit of time to fire through 30 bullets, whereas if you're using a fully automatic weapon, like an assault rifle or a carbine or whatever, it's only going to take like few seconds, just a few seconds to fire through 30 bullets, whereas if you're using the DMR, it's going to take quite a bit of time to get through 30 rounds. So that's just something you got to get used to as well. But also understand that when you're up close in those battles, when you're shooting 30 bullets or whatever the case may be, not all of those bullets are hitting. And you really still, even though you're using an automatic weapon, only need to hit a few of those bullets to kill your opponent. You really only need to get maybe 5, 4, 6 shots on target, and they're going to go down. The same as with the DMR, but the big difference is with those guns, you may waste 20 odd bullets on an opponent because you missed 20 bullets, and now you have to reload and you get killed by the next guy. But not only that, you're wasting bullets, you're going to run out of ammo. So the accuracy, being accurate, is just so crucial to improving your game, and I think DMRs are a great way to improve your accuracy. So if you can go from 10% to 15 to 20% to 25% accuracy, and maybe even up to 30, the time that it's going to take to kill guys is going to dramatically decrease, and you're going to really increase how effective you are with every weapon in the game and really showcase your skills. And also another thing that the DMRs will showcase to you is how good your aim is. And what I mean by that is, even if you had decent aim before, if it's not really decent and you think you have decent aim, the DMR is going to show that. If you thought you had good aim and you really don't have good aim, the DMR is going to showcase that. Because if you don't, again, you're not going to kill nobody if you're not on the money with these DMRs. And it's just going to be real tough for you. So you got to really get the hang of that, and it'll really showcase that. And right there, this guy's an idiot. He should have just switched to his secondary, tried to kill me. Instead, he goes for the knife up front and gets countered. Knifing is something I really only do rarely. You only want to do a knife is if you're going to catch a guy blindsided, if you catch a sniper, you know, locked into his aim, he's not paying attention to what's going on around him. If it's just a guy by himself and you happen to just roll up behind him because he's camping or doing this or doing that, that's when you want a knife. Otherwise, not too heavy on the knifing. Another thing that the DMRs help me realize, and I'm going to show an example of it in this video, is reloading. I reload way too much. You see me reload basically after every time I get a kill. I might see two guys, and unless I see them at the same time, I'm going to reload. And I always reload. It's just such a bad habit to have. Now, don't get me wrong, you do want to reload, but you don't want to reload, especially if you're using a DMR. You got 15 bullets left. It's going to take so long to get through those 15 bullets, especially if you're in the middle of action. What's the point of reloading? And, you know, I do that with automatic weapons as well, and any other weapon in the game. So, you know, even if you're using an automatic weapon, if you got 15 rounds left because you were accurate with the first 15 and you took out 2 guys, there's another guy about to hit the corner and you're trying to reload, you're going to get gunned down. But if you play it out smart, use those last 15 bullets and are accurate with that, you're going to be good to go. So right here's the situation I'm talking about. Had 10 bullets, reloaded, 17 bullets, reloaded again, and the first time it didn't bite us, but the second time it did. So, you know, sometimes you'll get away with it, sometimes you won't. But either way, it's still a bad habit to have, and you still got to be a little bit more smarter with those reloads. So that's one thing it showcased to me. But that's going to wrap up this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed my input on DMRs, why you should use them and things like that, and hopefully you got something out of it. If you want to hear more in the future about these guns, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And until the next time, we gone.